Okay, we are live. We are live, and we have a pregame show, about a 20-minute pregame show. And yes, my 002 stunner is about a minute and a half slow. I pulled out the stem to take some photographs of it the other day, and I haven't recalibrated it. But it puts on about 7 to 9 seconds a month. So in 6 or 8 months, it'll be back on time, even if I don't recalibrate. But we'll see what I end up doing on that. So, this is a broadcast in response to I had someone ask about how I stay warm in the winter when I keep the heat so low in the house. And so we're going to talk about Patagonia. We're going to talk about Patagonia and the Regulator series, which is what I have on right now. See the R there? And this is called Polar Tech Fleece. I have the jackets, I have the vests, and I'll show you both. And they're very comfortable. You can move freely in them. They're designed really well. The stitching is great, but you absolutely positively want to get the ones that are made in the United States of America, which means these days it's an eBay item. I got one for Bree not too long ago in mint condition off of eBay. You can still get them. I bought these new back in the day, but you can get the same thing and pretty close to mint. I wouldn't buy one if it's not mint condition, I'll put it that way, for probably anywhere from 40 to $60 if you snag one. If you can get one for 30 bucks, that's even better. But they generally go for in the 40 to $60 price range in mint condition. And I think it's a good move. Jason in the house. And so you can layer these. A lot of times I'll wear this with a vest over top of it. Bree says she wore one today. Do you have a photograph? Do you have a photograph you can show? That would be helpful if you can share a photograph in the watches group. Share it in the watches group. I'm going to pull up a photo I took today of my vest, which I hadn't had added to the quality clothing photo set on Flickr. I noticed it wasn't there, so I went ahead and took a photo of that. So let me show you that real quick. Give me a second. Oh, this is what we had up the other day was Briefit Dance's beautiful purse. So give me a second here. Okay, so this is the unit that I took a photograph of today, and I'll show it to you here in a moment, and I'll show you some of the features of it and why they're so warm and why they're such a good move. They're very lightweight, very comfortable. I love the vest because you have super good freedom of movement with those. But if it's really cold, you can layer that vest over the jacket like I have now. So let me get the vest real quick here. Bear with me. Okay. So this is a Polar Tech vest, and you can see the gray material in here. See how it's got these the holes for breathing and for trapping air, and it says Polar Tech right here on this tag here, and it's got a nice collar to it. Yeah, it's got nice, really nice zippers on the pockets with nice pulls on them. And this one says Patagonia right there, and then I also have CraigShipp.com embroidered over there. And I also have a you've seen it before. I have a North Face vest that's also very nice that I often wear that isn't quite as long as this one. And so I wear it more around the house because I like to be able to get in and out of my pockets easily and all that. And this one's a little bit longer, but this would keep you warmer because it is a little bit longer. So so yeah, that can be layered over top of what I'm wearing now if I needed a little bit extra in the way of warmth. But right now I'm good. And I have this jacket over top of a North Face. This is a North Face piece, which has North Face and CraigShipp.com on it. Okay, I wear it sometimes. Underneath as another layer. So let me get this out of the way. Okay, and then I also have another Patagonia Regulator right there, a red one that I was wearing the other day, that is a pullover, but it has a real long zipper, so it's easy to get on and off. You know, it unzips nice and wide. This one zips all the way down and opens like a jacket, which I actually prefer. So, so that's it. That's the deal. Patagonia, and you want to make sure you get the Regulator series. Oh, I skipped one here. Carlos says, hello, Craig and all, on foot patrol here. Excellent. And Kyle says, hey, guys. And so here we go. Here's a picture of the lovely Lady Bree wearing it's a jacket that zips up the front. Same, you can see that same liner material, and that's that Polar Tech fleece. That's a Patagonia. And so that's exactly what she's wearing in that photo. And she was wearing that one, she says, today. So we took that photo, I think, yesterday or the day before, here before she left. But she said, yeah, this is warm. I'm going to wear this. So that's the way that whole thing works. Triforce Rich in the house. He says, sup, everyone. Craig rocking the fedora. We need the 3-piece suit with the fedora. Had that on the other day. Today, the subject is Patagonia, specifically Regulator series. See the R? Regulator series. Polar Tech fleece. And this is critical. The ones that are made in the USA, which these days, that means you're going to have to buy vintage. You're going to have to buy off of eBay. The good news is there's a big selection of them on eBay. Big selection all the time. You can always find them. Now that's going to eventually dry up, right? Especially with me talking about them now. The used market of these, that's going to dry up. But so get them while you can. I'd get a couple of these jackets with the zipper front. I'd get a couple of vests, and then they'll last a lifetime. Like anything else, don't launder them any more often than you have to. I'd always layer something underneath them so that if you do sweat a little bit, it gets on whatever that is that's underneath. I've got a t-shirt. And then this underneath. And so the jacket will stay relatively free of any kind of sweat or anything like that. So you can wear them probably the whole season without having to launder them unless you spill something on them. Like I did the other day, I spilled some mustard on one of mine. So it got laundered. Let's see here. David Williams says, hey, Craig and all. Okay. Kyle's in the house. Is 777 in the Watches Zello channel the same person as on YouTube? Does anyone know? I don't know. That's a good question. That is a good question. And I am monitoring the Watches channel, and the Watches channel is piped into the show. So if anybody is on Watches and they want to pipe something in, you can do that. I'll make an announcement here just to make sure everybody knows. Stand by. Okay, so we are live on the YouTube channel, live on the YouTube channel. If you need to make a comment, you can do so. And the Watches channel is piped right into the YouTube show live. Okay, so that's the deal there. Jason is in the house. He's often in there.
Roger that. Stephen Applegate present.
Well, there you go. Stephen Applegate is in the house. We gotta inform Stephen. Stephen, you might also want to join the Frederick County channel. It's all one word, Frederick County.
Frederick County.
Join that one. That's a real good one.
That's a real good one.
Brianna has a
And
good
Brianna
channel.
has a good channel.
Bree Fit Dance, all one word. That's a good channel
That's a good channel to
check out. And there's another one you'd want to check out. It's Bitcoiners.
Bitcoiners.
Just add those channels, Bitcoiners, and
you'll be good to go.
Already following. Over now.
Well, there we go. Stephen is in the On the Watches channel. On the Watches channel, Stephen Applegate. And our wag says hi to everybody. He was in the channel the other day. He was in the Watches channel. And I wonder if he figured out how to do a custom icon for his account. Jason's in the house. Jason could help him with that. So for all Patagonia swag, third parties have to customize it if you want that. Luckily, I give away Patagonia swag that isn't customized, so it lasts longer. I'm not sure what all that's about. For all Patagonia swag, third parties have to customize it if you want that. I'm not sure what that means. I had mine customized. I had CraigShipp.com embroidered on some of mine, but I just have a local guy here that does the really good job on the embroidery. So he does that, and he makes it match the jacket nicely. Triforce Rich is in the house. Craig, are you ever going to do a produced series of you documenting your various favorite meals? We need documented footage of your legacy. Okay. I did do one of the sweet potato dish. I believe I did one. But Brianna, can you make a note if you're still out there somewhere? Can you make a note on the to-do list for next week to do one for the dinners that we're creating? We'll do a dinner video, a dinner creation video, because we have updated some things. Was I summoned? Yes, you were summoned. Yes. Cooking with Craig. Yes, we're going to do that. David Williams, it'd probably be cooking with Brianna, though. She'll probably be the star of it. Craig, the feedback is annoying. Mute if you use the app. What feedback? Oh, if I talk. That's only if I talk, right? Which I normally will not do. So clarify that, David. If somebody else talks in the Watches channel, that there's no feedback then. Correct? It's just if I talk, because it's going into this mic and also through the Watches channel. So if somebody's listening to the Watches channel and YouTube, it's going to be a cluster, you know what, because of delays and everything else. So I get that. I get you. So I usually will not do that. That'll be a rare occasion when I absolutely have to do that. Lots of feedback. When? Explain to me when the feedback is, so we can address this, because I thought yesterday it was working good. Like, okay, let me do a test right now. I'm going to play something on the Watches channel, just a playback, and let me know if there's an issue.
Okay, so we are live on the YouTube channel. If you need to make a comment, you can do so. And the Watches channel is piped right into the YouTube show live.
Whoops. All right, there, I stopped it. Okay, so now I couldn't hear that. I played the iPad, which is piped into the show, and let me know if that caused issues. Jason says I missed his first comment. Let me go way back here. Jason, that's a nice Patagonia. I thought I put that up. Let's see. When you are using Zello, so you mean when I talk on Zello, correct? So again, I'm gonna try to not do that during the show, because yeah, that would cause a problem. But make sure it's clear that it's not when somebody else talks in the Watches channel. That should come through clear without issues. Triforce Rich, why aren't you on Zello? Good question. Our Wags asked Craig, how do I talk on Zello without leaving your YouTube broadcasts? Okay, so the best thing to do would be to have 2 devices, to be watching the YouTube show on one device and then use the other device to talk in the watches group. That would be the best way to do it, because unless you're paying for the YouTube Premium, when you leave YouTube on your phone, it's going to stop playing, right? It won't play in the background unless you've got the YouTube Premium service, which is fine. I mean, it can stop playing. You can go over to the Zello app and then say something in the watches channel and then come back and continue watching. But the only way to keep watching would be to probably have 2 devices, I would think. Be watching it, be relaxing in the living room and watching it on your smart TV. If you have a smart TV, you can bring up YouTube on there and watch the channel, watch the live show on there. That's how I like to watch YouTube videos, is in the living room with the big screen. I can lay back, relax, and watch, you know, somebody like Archie Luxury go crazy, although I don't watch him very often. But anyway, it's fun from time to time. Just when you are talking, Kyle, that's what I figured. That's a good question. I remember playing walkie-talkie when I was a kid. Yeah, well, this is a lot better than just a walkie-talkie, Triforce Rich. This has a chat. Let me cut to it here. Let me go back to the main screen here. This is the main screen where you push that button to talk, and by default, you push and hold it to talk. You can switch it over in the settings to a toggle setting where you push it and you can talk and talk and talk, and then push it again when you're ready to stop talking. But where the fun starts is when you click on that speech bubble in the upper right, that blue speech bubble. When you tap on that, you get into the chat section where you can play back previous verbal messages, and you can also see any photos that were shared. Here's a photo that BriefFit Dance shared a little while ago. Okay. And you can even go back in time and see things that happened previously. Like here's some straps that Jason shared earlier. And you can go back at your leisure and take a look at those. And then you can play, like I say, any audio. Like if I play, let me find one here. I'll just play a little bit. Here's something that I don't know what he said, but I'm just going to play this.
I haven't tried HD straps yet because I have 3 or 4.
Okay, and I stopped it. Now, what you can do if you want to is you can leave that playing and it'll just go right on down through in chronological order any messages that you missed. So you go back in time to whatever you missed and hit play, and you can catch up on any chatter that's been taking place. So it's a walkie-talkie on steroids. That's what it is. Let's see. And it's a free iOS and Android app, and you search Zello, 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 and it's going to say that it's a walkie-talkie app in one of the, whatever, if you're in the Apple Store or the Android Play Store, whatever they call it these days, it's going to show up as a walkie-talkie app, and it's free. Add it. Add a free account, which is very easy to do. Create your account, and then there's a channel section and the little plus thing. Click that to add a channel, and you got to search by the exact channel name. It has to be an exact match. It's not case sensitive, but it has to be an exact match. So you would search, let's say, watches, and the watches group will come up. Channel, I mean, watches channel. Click on it, add that channel, and that's how you add channels. And you can create your own channel for your family. Let's say you want to have one for your family and friends. Create a channel and then invite them to join it. And then you've got your own private little communication network that you can do. My second comment, oops, okay. All right, let me go see, where's Jason's second comment? Oh, here we go. We get a lot of Patagonia swag in the corporate world. Interesting, Patagonia will no longer customize products because it shortens the life if you change jobs and throw it. Oh, okay, I hear what you're saying. But here's the problem, though, with anything you're going to get these days, it's all going to be made offshore anyway, and it ain't going to have the quality of these older vintage USA ones. They, just like a lot of brands, they built their brand name by really making some exceptional products. They made some exceptional products, and the products they're making nowadays are still pretty good, but they're not as good as the ones that were made back in the day, the USA made items. So yeah, and you're going to pay more. You're going to pay more. You can, like I say, you can buy these vintage units in really mint condition, and then I would wash them in woolite. I'd turn them inside out and wash them in woolite, and you've got yourself basically a garment that's going to last indefinitely. For a very good value. Yes, you do. That's what you've got. You've got a good value. The more people that are in Zello, the better. It has changed my life. Rich, we are missing you and David, among others that have not yet logged in. That's right. We need to spread the word, guys. We need some more people in Zello. Get some people out of those like Discord things and all those other things. Get them out of there and have them come over into Zello on the Watches channel. I see some chat going on in there right now. I see Triforce Rich did a testing, and let me show that. You can see there, Triforce Rich said testing.
Rich connection is validated. Rich connection is validated. Confirmation code Crazy Monkey. Crazy Monkey.
Oh, now you may have heard that back through the mic. I should turn down my phone. I've got my phone monitoring so that I can hear, because I can't hear the iPad. So I should probably turn this down pretty low so that it doesn't feed back through the mic. So let's see. So Triforce Rich is laughing. Stephen Applegate says, cool. The other thing, Triforce Rich, is you want to upload a custom icon. You want to, so you don't have that generic T for Triforce Rich. You can upload a cool logo or icon or picture. Since you're so good looking, you just put a picture of yourself in there. Yeah, why don't you share a photo? Just play around. Why don't you share a photo of whatever's on your wrist? Just snap a photo and share it into here. It's the little plus thing, and just
stand by for a general security message. Stand by. Beginning of general security message. Security is everyone's responsibility. It is your duty to have your communication device on site and don't leave it unattended. Validation code, Crazy Scotch. End of general security message. Over.
Okay, so that was a general security message from our chief of security, Carlos. Carlos, our chief of security, and he when necessary he has to interrupt the show with an emergency message. That was an emergency message. Let's see. Have the trolls invaded Zello yet? No, they haven't found out about it yet, I don't think. Kyle Jetson House. There's nothing better than waking up to Carlos at 3 a.m. LOL. I didn't know how to put the app on busy for a few days. Now, here's the thing. I learned the hard way too. See, Carlos educates us all. Not only do you have to put it on busy, you also have to use the little mute switch on the side of your phone and mute, right? Otherwise, you're still going to hear chimes and stuff. You're still going to hear things. There are some settings in the app that you can change around, but that's how I ended up doing it. Yeah. So, Craig, would you trade 10 BTC to have your head transplanted onto the body of a healthy 20-year-old bodybuilder? I don't like those bodybuilder bodies, those overly done. But if I could have, I don't need my head transplanted. I just need everything in my brain, all my experiences, all my life experiences, everything transferred to an 18-year-old, 20-year-old body. I'd take my own body. If I could just go back to when I was 20 years old, just transfer it all back. And that way I have all the knowledge and everything that I've learned, and I won't make stupid mistakes that I made in the past. For example, of course, I never did buy ugly watches. I was going to say I wouldn't buy ugly watches, but I didn't do that. But I made other mistakes. But a lot of the guys in the forums and the watch forums and all that, they make a lot of mistakes. They're young, right? And they buy these ugly watches and so forth. But just think, if they had the wisdom of time, decades of experience, and they were 20 or 30 years old, just think how much better off they'd be. Yeah, 10 BTC, heck yeah. 10 BTC wouldn't hurt my stack much at all. That'd be fine. I would absolutely do that. Jason's in the house. My iPhone battery has been struggling to keep up with Zello party. Yeah, you do have to charge more frequently when you're doing all these kinds of things with the phone. I have a charging, like a little thing I sit my phone in when I'm at the desk working that charges it. And so, of course, in the car, I have a charger thing that I put it in, right? That charges it with the whatever they call it, the magnetic charging, whatever. And so, yeah, you have to periodically top them off when you're using these kinds of apps. There's no doubt about that. My podcast app, it chews up some batteries too. But we keep on top of it. Kyle's in the house. I wish that iPhone allowed you to always have low power mode on. There are some settings and some things you can tweak, and there are a bunch of how-tos out there of ways that you can do that you can get more battery life out of your phone. Craig, have you been to the summit of Mount Everest? No, I have not. I have new improved icon now. It's not showing up. It still says T. So it still says a T. See, Triforce Rich just posted. I have a new improved icon now. I don't see it, but maybe I need to refresh or something. I don't know. Let's see. I recommend that Zello, Zello, Z-E-L-L, Zello, not Zillow. Users lose wrench membership. Okay. Well, let's give them time to adopt. Let's give them time. Some of them are a little bit slow. Rich is in the house. There's certainly going to be a special tier. There's certainly going to be a special tier of wrench VIPs that are going to be required to have, among other things, a faux pay as well. There'll be a requirement that they have a faux pay. That's the only way we can really verify who they are, is if they actually have a faux pay on wrist. Because it's too easy to fake. It's too easy to come in like with a Rolex or something like that. That's easy, right? But you show up with a faux pay, that really differentiates you. Kyle's in the house. Rich, we need to visit our friends over at GS Beverly Hills again pretty soon. It's been too long. Oh, well, Alex and Xavier love BSing with us, though we never buy anything. Yeah, go over there and try to live broadcast. Try to join the show. Let's set it up, and so you guys can join the show. Let's do it as soon as possible. Our wags in the house. Zello is a walkie-talkie with unlimited range. Pretty neat. Yes, but you do have to be in a data area for your phone. If you don't have cell coverage, then you're out of luck. And that's why we're also going to ultimately all have GMRS radios, mobile units in our vehicles, so that we can communicate even if the cellular system goes down. Because a lot of GMRS volunteers are setting up repeaters and so forth, so that we're going to have very, very big coverage areas for GMRS. So that's where we're headed with our communications. And then what we're going to do at some point is we will have a repeater that is hooked into this watch's Zello app, so that if anybody talks on their GMRS radio, that's also piped into the watches group. So even if you're off grid somewhere where you don't have cellular, you'll be able to use a GMRS radio. And if you can hit our repeater, then you're going to be able to join the fun. So we have a roadmap. We have a roadmap for this. Tim McDonald's in the house. I'm afraid if I turn Zello on, Carlos will talk. Carlos in the house. Carlos in the wake up Australian time. Yes, you have to use the available, unavailable feature. Let me go back here and show you guys how this works. You see here. Oh, I got to take the ticker off so that I can show you. Okay, you see where it says available at the bottom of the screen? Okay. If I tap on that, it goes to solo and then unavailable. Now, I don't know what solo does, but anyway, busy is what you want to toggle it to. And then in addition to that, I use the switch on the side of my phone that mutes tones and things like that. And so then I don't get disturbed in the wee hours of the morning. But the fun thing is you can go to available when you get up in the morning, and you can go back, click on the speech bubble, and you can go back and play his antics back to you. So like, for example, if here's Carlos right here, if I hit play.
Stand by for a general security message. Stand by. Beginning of general security message.
Okay, you can see I can play that. I can start and stop it. I can play back things that happened previously. So how cool is that? I changed it in the app to vibrate so I don't have to switch my phone to silent. I just switched to busy for bedtime. Good move. Good move, Kyle. So you switched it to vibrate all the time. See, I don't like doing it that way because during the day, I like to hear the tones and stuff. I think they're kind of cool. But so at night, all I have to do is switch the switch on the side of the phone, and that way it just goes to vibrate automatic, right, while I'm sleeping. So I like to have my cake and eat it too. During the day, I like to have some of those chimes and stuff. But you're right. If I get tired of that, then yeah, I'll go in and switch it to vibrate all the time. And let's see here. Tim, you will be able to mute it during the middle of the night. For the first few days, I had it on, though, and it influenced my dreams. I had a nightmare that my pins and collars fell out. Uh-oh. Yeah, that would not be good. Craig, the American Collins is playing really well and taking on Aussie Ashbury in the Australian Open tennis final. Yeah, but they kicked out what's his name, right? So it's not really a legit thing, right? But anyway, I haven't been following tennis for years. Hello, Craig and all. Lance in the house. Craig, what truck would you buy? If you mean truck, buy something like a Toyota Land Cruiser. I would absolutely buy a Toyota Land Cruiser. If you mean pickup truck, I'd buy the full-size Toyota. What's it called? A Tundra? Isn't that what it's called? The full-size that is on, it's a body-on-frame construction. I think it's called Tundra. As a matter of fact, I'd be tempted to buy that instead of a Land Cruiser just because you can't get the Land Cruiser anymore in this country. And the truck is kind of cool. Kyle says, I agree. Let's figure out a day and make it happen. Miss you, bud. Okay. Craig, it's okay for a late 20s man to date an 18-year-old. 18-year-old. It depends on the 18-year-old. I mean, some of them, they've got their head screwed on pretty good. And you know, you need to find somebody that's absolutely adorable and a lot of fun to spend time with and not cranky, doesn't complain all the time, isn't high maintenance. I mean, of course, what I'm describing is very hard to find, right? So the bottom line is, if you find that person, I don't care what age they are, obviously you want them to be an adult, but if you find that person, you know, grab them and keep them because they're very hard to find, right? That person that I just described. I'll text you. Okay, sounds good. See, deals are being made right here in the chat, in the live chat. Craig, refresh the app so you can see my new icon. Okay, I'll try to do that. Kyle's in the house. Tundra, not made in Japan. Oh, it's not. Oh, so that's not too good. But then again, Toyota's pretty good about, you know, doing quality manufacturing wherever they do it. I mean, if I bought a Camry in this day and age, it's not going to be made in Japan. My Prius, fortunately, was made in Japan. Of course, my LS sedans, both of my LS sedan Lexuses were made in Japan. The GS300 was made in Japan. I would prefer made in Japan, but I don't think it would be a deal breaker. I don't think it would be a deal breaker. I think that truck's probably a pretty good truck. But again, my first choice would probably be just go with a Land Cruiser. So get one 5 or 6 years old. Try to find one that a little old lady has that never abused it or anything like that, that it just sat in her garage most of the time. And those are findable. They're around. And if you can find one that she's not really aware of the value and she puts it up for sale, you might be able to get a decent buy on it, right? Directly from that private owner. You know, you really get lucky. You're driving through a nice neighborhood or something, and you see she's got the garage door up or whatever. Or she's out washing the car in the driveway, and little old lady, right? And you pull up and you start chatting with her, and she kind of likes you and kind of adopts you a little bit, and you bring up in conversation, hey, you know, your Land Cruiser's like 6 years old now. You don't you think it's time for you know, trade it in, get a new one, get a new car? You know, you want safety, you want reliability. You might be able to talk Fern into selling you her Land Cruiser. It's happened before. It's happened before. Lance, I wouldn't buy a truck. I'd rather buy a station wagon like the E-Class wagon. No, I would pass on a Mercedes. I would pass on a Mercedes Benz. Yeah. If you want a now, if you do want a Mercedes station wagon, try to find a mint like 1979 300 SD turbo diesel wagon. Not 300 SD, it'd be a 300D or 300 TD, I guess is what it would be. 300 TD, like about a 1979 in mint condition, no rust, from a rust-free area. Get one of those with like 50,000 original miles on it. And that would be a cool station wagon. And those are pretty reliable, pretty good cars. So if you want to go station wagon, that's the way to go. Triforce Rich, and get the turbo diesel one. Triforce Rich. I see a lot of people getting the Tundra TRD Pro. Looks nice. Triforce. I think so. Craig, do you have one vehicle? Right now, yes, I have one vehicle. The new Ford Bronco Raptor looks pretty sick. Okay. I follow a YouTube called Cruising the Land. He's out of Laguna Beach, California. He owns 10 or so Land Cruisers and has many reasons why you should only buy Toyota products that are Japan made. Oh, interesting. But again, I think some of this stuff becomes urban legend and becomes, you know, I really think there's not that big a difference. I think, yeah, otherwise you would, Toyota's reputation would be crashing and burning, right? People would be like, Toyotas aren't reliable anymore, you know, forget about it, right? But you don't hear that. You hear people still saying Toyotas are the most reliable car out there, period. Honda's number 2. I think Subaru's number 3. I mean, that's basically what you hear. And they've been making cars in these United States for many, many years now. So is Honda. So yeah, if their quality control and if it went all to hell with the cars made in the USA, I think we'd know about it. And I don't think we'd know about it from one YouTube channel, Cruising the Land, right? Now, he's biased. I mean, he has a bunch of Land Cruisers that, of course, are made in Japan, right? So maybe he's saying that just like all the Rolex people are saying, oh, Rolex is the only way to go, you know, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, they've got a dog in the fight. Carlos is at the house in 2 years. I will be purchasing a new car. Then I will check the Bronco. Okay. Kyle but the Tundra and Sequoia look really cool. Okay. Craig, how many thousands of dollars have you spent on Prius maintenance? My Prius has had almost no issues. I've had it since 2004. I bought it new. I've replaced the 12-volt battery in the back, the accessory battery, 3 times. And it costs about, I don't know, 180, 200 bucks each time. It's a glass mat battery, so it's a sealed, you know, it's a special battery. It's about 200 bucks each time. I replaced the struts for the rear hatchback once, and I'm going to have to replace them again pretty soon. They're about 20 bucks a piece, 2 of them. I have replaced the sensor that is on the rear suspension. It's mounted in there, and I have a video on my channel of us doing it. It's about $130 part. It's a thing that when you put luggage in the back or whatever, in the back of the car goes down, it adjusts the headlights. Because mine had the package that included the high output headlights, and so it adjusts those as needed. That sensor failed, and so I replaced that. That was about, like I say, about $130 for the part. Maybe they charged me $50 to put it in. There was a recall on something that was a pump that was part of the hybrid system, but that was a recall. That didn't cost anything. I haven't done any kind of a quote tune-up. It's got the original wires, original spark plugs. It's got the original brakes on it, the original exhaust. Everything else is original. So that's pretty much all I've done so far. Now, I do have all the fluids changed. I used to have every fluid in the car changed once a year. Lately, I haven't done it as frequently as that. No, I take that back. The transmission fluid, the constant velocity transmission fluid, I've only had that changed once. And I've had the brake fluid flushed maybe twice in the whole length that I've had the car. I've had the oil changed at least once a year. I only drive about, 5,000 miles a year now. So I've had that change about once a year. The coolant has been changed, I think, twice since I've had it. It's probably due again. Car's been insanely reliable. What can I say? Boozer in the house. Craig, would you disavow Grand Seiko if they were to start making watches in Switzerland? No, I mean, my take on watches is if it'll do the job for me that I want it to do, and it'll be bulletproof reliable, I demand bulletproof reliable in my watch. It has to be comfortable on wrist, has to look great, it has to check all the boxes, basically. I don't care where it's made. If they could make one in China that would do all of that, I'd buy it, but they ain't gonna do it. They make a lot of junk over there. Yeah, I'm not that concerned with where they're made. I mean, I guess I shouldn't say that. I don't think I'd buy something made in China, period. I'm getting so sick and tired of that stuff. But anyway, some things you just can't avoid, like the two-way radios I'm going to do a review on next week, the handhelds. They're made in China. I mean, some of these companies, just everything is made in China. You just can't get around it. But Switzerland, I've got nothing against Swiss watches. I mean, I wore Rolexes for many years, decades, and they were great, right? I just found something better. I just stepped up to something better. That Bronco looks good, Carlos. Reagan forced the Japanese to make cars in the U.S. Toyota makes so many cars here that may as well be American. Yeah, but I think the quality's a lot better. I think they still insist on quality from all their suppliers, all their parts suppliers. They are known. I knew a guy that worked in the body shop business for years, and Toyota is known for being really picky when it comes to the parts that go into their cars, and they do not play games with their suppliers. Their suppliers start sending them parts that are not up to specs and not what they want. They will fire that supplier and get somebody else in a heartbeat. And they will pay more for parts because of that, right? So some of the parts, they might pay twice as much as the American manufacturer to get it done right? And so they're just relentless. They really are relentless when it comes to quality control. Craig, it's time to get a Lexus. Enjoy life where you're still young and healthy. They don't really make something that will trump my Prius, that'll do what my Prius will do. So I'm very, trust me, if I didn't like my Prius and like the way it's performing, I would get another car in a heartbeat. But I don't replace cars just to replace them, just for fun. Let's see, R-Wags is in the house. The Tundra is made in San Antonio. Okay. I'll be honest, I like the idea of made in Japan. Yeah, I think you can't go wrong with a Land Cruiser, with a Toyota Land Cruiser. And not just because it's made in Japan, it's just a beast. I mean, it's just overbuilt. It's just, and I'm talking about the ones from 4 or 5 years ago. I'm not sure about the new one, but whatever. But 4 or 5 years ago, um, they're just a beast. I can say the same thing about the LS sedan, the Lexus LS sedan. It's made in Japan, right? And it's a freaking beast. I mean, it's just built like a tank. So some of those cars, yeah, absolutely. It may not make a difference if it's made in the US. Well, we'll never know because they never made any Land Cruisers here, I don't think. So we'll never really have an A-B comparison, right? Craig, I think it's time to buy a Dodge Viper and enjoy your golden years. My buddy Dave Serio has a Dodge Viper. I could drive it or go for a ride in it if I want to, but a lot of those cars, even back in the day when everybody, loved the Corvettes and the Jaguars and all this stuff, I never found them to be that comfortable and to be very good road cars. I always preferred a Cadillac Fleetwood. When I was 20 years old, I was, not 20 because I had dealer cars then, but I also had a Cadillac a lot of the time. But anyway, I generally drove a Cadillac Fleetwood sedan just because it was so comfortable and made a great road car. And I did have contemporaries. I had friends of mine say, "Oh, it's an old man's car," and all this stuff, right? And then we'd go for a road trip up to New York, and they'd feel like they just went around the block, right? They'd feel refreshed and comfortable when we got there and all that, and they'd say, "Wow, this is a nice car," right? And then when we'd take all the stuff we bought in New York, and it would all fit in the trunk. The trunk was huge, right? Everything would fit in the trunk, and we'd stop on the way back and have a nice dinner and stuff and all that. There'd be like 5 or even I even went one time with 6 of us in the car, but usually it'd be like 5 people in the car, 2 up front and 3 in the back. And everybody would arrive refreshed and comfortable. There wasn't a bad seat in the house. Even the middle seat in the back was comfortable, right? And then they'd be like they wouldn't be making the old man cars comments for a while. They'd be like, like putty whenever I'd say, "Hey, we'll take my car," right? They'd be like, "Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, we'll take the Fleetwood." So that's how the whole thing worked. Rolls. Are you talking about Rolls Royce or Bulletproof Reliable? Oh, you're talking about Rolex. Rolex. Yeah, they're pretty reliable. Absolutely. I never had issues. With them. The big difference between when you step up from Rolex to Grand Seiko, the big difference is with that spring drive movement. It's just a huge improvement. And to some extent, the finishing and all, and the detailing, and like for example, the bracelet that I have on the diver watch on this watch here. The bracelet is far superior to anything Rolex has, much more comfortable, more flexible. And because it has the pin and collar system, it's just very flexible and blends to the wrist. And this clasp is much easier to use, much more functional than anything Rolex has. So it's a big, big upgrade when you go, like, for example, from a sub to this watch. It's just night and day difference. And yeah, you add the titanium into the mix, it just disappears on your wrist. You don't even know the thing's on your wrist. So yeah, it's huge. Carlos, I would suggest to get a chainsaw and convert your Prius into a convertible to drive around with a nice day. There you go. And I had a bunch of convertibles back in the day, and when I relocate permanently to Sarasota, well, I'll never be there permanently. I always leave during the summer hot weather. But when I start spending a lot more time down there, starting next winter, I'm not spending another winter here. I'm done with winters here. I'll probably have some kind of an open vehicle down there. It might be a motorcycle. It might be a convertible. It's going to be something. Let's see here. Craig, get an Aston Martin and put some racing stripes with Mid-Atlantic TV and gold rims. Okay, R-Wags in the house. After over 60 years of off-road adventures, the Toyota Land Cruiser has been discontinued, making 2021 the vehicle's last model year. Yeah, if you want to get basically the same thing, you've got to get the Lexus version. They sell, basically a Lexus version of it. And if there's enough people that bitch and complain, maybe they'll bring it back. You never know. They might bring it back at some point. I think they've canceled it before and brought it back. I don't know that it's been here constantly since it was introduced. I seem to remember there were years when they didn't sell it, but maybe I'm wrong. Kyle's in the house. Sad decision by Toyota to cancel it here. Craig, why not convert your Prius to a desert buggy? Because it works great. No one bought it, Kyle. I've always asked Toyota dealers about it, and they said they sold one once in a blue moon. Oh, the Land Cruisers? Interesting. Well, I will tell you one thing. If you want to carry like 7 people or whatever the number is that they're designed to carry, it ain't comfortable for that purpose. The rear seats are terrible, right? The third row. Even the back second row isn't that great. So really, if you want to carry a bunch of people and you want like a 4-wheel drive or something like that, you really need to go with like a Suburban, like a Chevy Suburban. So that's probably what the people buy instead. Toyota Land Cruiser is really appropriate for off-roading, right? Is really what it's appropriate for. Not a people hauler around town. Not for a bunch of people, that is. Tim also said the pin and collar system is a sign of cheap manufacturing. Yeah, it's amazing that these people that never even wear these watches for any period of time, right, are experts, right? He handles a watch for his video, right? He shows it for his video. He looks at some specs, and he comes to these conclusions, and he didn't even experience the watch for any period of time, right? I mean, that'd be like buying a car without giving it a thorough test drive, right? It wouldn't be a good idea. Wouldn't be a good idea to do that. But anyway, pin and collar is far superior to screws. Just think about the physics of it. If they didn't, we'll talk about that in a second. If they didn't offer the Sequoia and marketed better, I think they would. People are all over the road, all over off-road vehicles now all the time. The problem is, I think it's too expensive. The Land Cruiser is real expensive. So isn't there a Lexus version of the Prius? I don't know about that. I'm looking forward to seeing the next 4Runner. Okay, I can't keep up with you guys. The issue is people are obsessed with status and do not understand here in Cali. They see price tag and Toyota and would rather get a shit range to show off soccer school. Yeah, the Land Cruiser. I mean, the Land Rover is a real mistake. Kyle, that car looks so cool, but it needs an overhaul. Outdated inside, awesome exterior. Okay. I think Lexus CT hybrid had the Prius internals. Okay. Yes, looking forward to seeing the next gen 4Runner. This one has ran its course. Craig, would you rather be a lead designer for Toyota or GS? Well, I could do a lot. I could do a lot of help for both of them. I could, get Toyota to turn away from these ugly designs they're coming out with. And I could help Grand Seiko come out with about 5 or 6 models that are just epic, that could be the core of their line, that they could just produce forever, year after year after year without changing them. And that would be epic, but they would never listen to me. Okay. What was it that I was going to talk about? Oh, the pins and collars. All right. If you just think about the physics of it, guys, if you just think about this, if you have a screw starting from one side, going through the center link, and then screwing into the next link, the outer link, and that screw thereby is fixed in place, then when you move your hand around, this as it flexes, the center links are moving against a screw that is fixed in place. Okay. Two bad things can happen. One thing is the center link can generate wear against that hardened screw. Okay. Even if the screw is made of the exact same material as the center link. Like if they're both 18 karat gold. Excuse me. That can generate wear. And that will therefore result in bracelet stretch over time. Now, that's one bad thing that can happen. The other bad thing that can happen with that fixed screw is as it wiggles and moves and things like that, heaven forbid that screws start backing out. And there have been people that have had bracelets fall apart and their watch fall off because that screw fell out and they didn't notice it coming out. They didn't notice it working its way out. Now, that's an edge case. It's not going to happen often, but it can absolutely happen. With the pin and collar system, with that pin literally pressed into that collar, this isn't the push pin that goes in on the real cheap watches, the push pin that goes through the center link and then pushes with pressure into the outer link. That is fixed in place. Once that's pressed in, that is fixed in place, that pin. So you have the same problem that you have with the screw. You don't solve these problems that way. The system that Grand Seiko uses and some other high-end watches use, like Patek Philippe has used them and so forth, is that the pin goes through and then is pressed into the collar in the outer link. And the whole thing is designed so that that entire pin can freewheel. It can freewheel. So as this link moves, that pin can actually freewheel. So there's less friction between it and the center link. And it makes the bracelet more flexible as well for comfort and so forth. And you can make the bracelet a little bit thinner because that hardened pin doesn't need to be as thick as a screw. Okay. And so all of these things end up with a more comfortable bracelet that will last longer and that will be more comfortable because of the flexibility. Okay. So if Tim would pay any attention to physics, he would know that. All right. Craig, I'm here. Derek's here. Okay. Is Joker coming to the next Little Treasure event? Good question to ask Steve. Craig, would you trade the 002 for a Rolex GS collab day-date 38 mil yellow gold ceramic sleeves, yellow gold 5-day spring drive movement, 11 millimeters thick, 100? Oh my gosh, yes. That would be like the ideal watch because 38 mils. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Even if it was 37 mils would work. But yes, I think 38, 11 mils thick. Oh my gosh. We'd have a killer watch there. You'd have a permanent killer all around one watch solution. You wouldn't need a 2-watch rotation then. That would be a heavy use single watch rotation. And I would like it with the snowflake dial, but with the Rolex hands with the lume and everything. With the Rolex style hands with lume, full lume, because some day dates don't have lume, but the day date hands that have lume with a snowflake dial. And tell you what would really make it perfect. They should make it 2 ways. They should make it also without the day date complication. I would be tempted to buy it without the day date complication, because then you would have again a watch that you could literally wear for months without unscrewing the crown, because you wouldn't have to worry about the date, having 30 days or 31 days or whatever, right? So I think they should make it both ways. I think they should make that exact watch with the president bracelet, with the ceramic sleeves, etc., also without the date and day complication. And maybe they can get it down to 10 mils thick then. Yeah, that's what I want. I want 10 mils thick, which is about what the 002 is, the thickness of the 002. So really, come to think of it, all we need is for Faux Pay to make a custom 18 karat gold bracelet for the 002 and throw in a few micro adjustments, right? And then we don't even need Rolex involved, because of the 38.5 mil is fine for the 002, and the thickness is great. I don't mind the manual wind, although but we do. No, I'm sorry, back up. If it's going to be a do everything one watch rotation, we probably want the screw down crown, the 100 meters water resistant. So we need a screw down crown on the 002 and the automatic function, auto wind. So yeah, bump it to 11 mils thick. A custom gold bracelet by Faux Pay with ceramic sleeves with some micro adjustments. And I think if it was the bead of rice bracelet, that would be epic. Yeah, man, I could design some watches that would just knock people's socks off. They'd be like, just in the corner crying and screaming and playing with blocks because they can't get it. Imagine Craig's rage if GS were to make all forthcoming models use screws and bracelets. Doesn't matter. I've already got my watches. I'm good. It'll be a sad thing for other people that don't have their watches yet. That is what needs to happen, Rich. You're completely wrong. It's obvious you're on the payroll for Seiko Company, says the fake Tim Masso. Oh, God. It's funny. Can I join on the watch app channel? Yes, you're supposed to be there. Zello, 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 and then add the channel. Go to add channel, and it's called watches. Clive, can you add the channel? Clive, is this the fake Clive? Whoever that is, add the watches channel. Here it is. This is the watches channel. This is the watches channel. And you install the Zello app. It's Zello, so it's like hello, but with a Z. Zello, and it's in the App Store. It's in the Google Play Store, and it's free. And once you get that app running on your phone, add the watches channel, and check what you can see on there. Watch this. You can even see silly people that own a day date, that actually own a day date, and they're wearing a Tudor. Can you imagine? You'll even see that kind of silliness. If you tune in to the Watches channel, we're going to wrap this up pretty soon. Let's see. Triforce Rich, here's the solution. Have the date wheel and the day in both English and Japanese, so you can have it on Japanese for aesthetics and not worry about setting it correctly. Good point. But see, if we get rid of the date wheel and the day wheel and all, we can make the watch a little thinner. You see what I'm saying? I want that beads of rice eventually. Yes. We should talk to Faux Pay and see if they'll start making some custom gold bracelets. That's what they started out, by the way. Faux Pay started out making gold bracelets for watches. That's how they started their business, believe it or not. Carlos, if I were a rapper or a pimp, I would wear the described watch. Neil and Bob are here. Who's that? Who's Neil and Bob? Question mark. Okay, Clivester. Goodness, is that Tudor? Is that Sterling? Oh, okay. Is that the real Clive? If that's the real Clive, he should definitely, I don't think it is, but he should definitely join the Watches channel on the Zello app, because he's technically capable. So add Zello, Zello, and join the fun. Join the fun. Add the watches channel. This is it. It's the watches channel. It's the word watches. Okay, it can't be too complicated. Add that channel. Triforce Rich, do you think Carlos needs medication or maybe potential brain surgery for buying a tutor and choosing white over yellow gold? Well, it's very interesting that you would bring that up, because here's the deal with that. He bought white gold because he wanted something where he could fly under the radar screen a little bit, right? I get it. I get it. He's in a third world country. I get it. Okay. And he travels to other third world countries. I get it. He wants to fly under the radar screen a little bit, even though he's a big guy. He doesn't want to, have violence thrust into his life. So he bought a white gold date so he can fly underneath the radar screen. All right. And now he's wearing a Tudor. What's the point? He's got something that he can fly under the radar screen with that's a nice watch. Just wear the date. Wear the date. So yes, I think an intervention is necessary, because I can understand if he had a yellow gold date, he'd want to wear the Tudor to fly under the radar screen, not get mugged, whatever the reasoning is for not getting yellow gold, right, on the date. But he got white gold. He got what he wanted. He got a watch to fly under the radar screen. It's a perfectly capable watch to fly under the radar screen. So he should be wearing that. Life is too short to be wearing. Trust. Take it from an old guy here. I'm an old guy. Take it from an old guy. Life is too short to be wearing a Tudor. All right. It's too short to be wearing a Tudor. Oh, God help us all. Oops. It jumped. There isn't anybody better feeling than a gold old stretch band watch. There you go. But he's got the ceramic sleeves. Craig, what happened to the cowgirl? Is she a college grad yet? I should try to reach out to Sarah and see what she's doing, but she got disenchanted because there were a lot of trolls. A lot of people were trolling her when she did her shows. They weren't showing proper support, and so she pulled back.
Carlos is being sedated and getting ready for the special medical intervention. Over.
There you go. Sounds like something the real Clive would say. All right. Derek in the house. My phone does not have Zello. I have iPhone 8 Pro. I think maybe she's too old, Craig. No, you can add the Zello. Just go to the App Store. You got to add it. You got to go to the App Store and search Zello, Zello, and add the app. It's available on your phone. Kyle's in the house. Brett is flying under the radar with the white gold date 8 as well. Well, where is he? Yeah, he's flying so far under the radar that he's not in the chat here, and he's not on the Watches app. He's not on the Watches app. I heard if you get mugged while wearing a Tudor that the thief will return it. That's probably true. Lamont says word. Platinum date 8 in ice blue is awesome under the radar, yet those who know it's the top of the food chain. That's what Michael Saylor has, but he doesn't have the one with the ice blue dial. He has like a black dial on his, but he has a platinum date 8. You can tell also with the smooth bezel, right? You don't need the ice blue to tell. You can tell instantly because it has the smooth bezel. And yeah, the problem with platinum on a date 8 is you talk about heavy. It's going to be significantly heavier. The 40 mil date 8 is already, a beefy watch, but you get it in platinum, it's going to be even heavier. And I don't think there's really a reason to get platinum these days, because now that they have the sleeves in the bracelet, I don't think you're going to have the bracelet stretch issue anymore. I think that's been solved. And so previously it would be a good idea to get platinum because it's more durable, right? You're probably not going to get the bracelet stretch on a platinum unit. but I don't think you're going to get the stretch on a white gold unit with the ceramic sleeves. All right, we're going to wrap it up. I thank you guys for watching and being so attentive and being involved in the show, but we're going to wrap it up. I'm going to get something to eat. And we will do it again. Hey, Patagonia, links are in the chat. Go ahead and search eBay for Patagonia and make sure you search for the Made in USA. Make sure you search for the Regulator series, Patagonia Regulator, Made in USA, and search your size, and you will be good to go. Thanks for watching.